navigating climate risk with Indices. Investors around the globe are taking action to address climate risk, creating a need for ESG tools designed to bring greater transparency to potential risks and opportunities. We built the S&P Paris Aligned in Climate Transition, or S&P PACT indices, to help market participants identify companies walking the path to a 1.5 degrees C scenario. The indices provide greater insight into the risks associated with climate change and a framework for accessing companies who appear committed to achieving net zero by 2050, while adhering to the requirements of EU low-carbon benchmark labels. The EU low-carbon benchmark labels provide minimum standards for two climate benchmarks, the EU Climate Transition Benchmark, CTB, and its more ambitious cousin, the EU Paris-Aligned Benchmark, PAB. These both require a 7% year-on-year decarbonisation recommended by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change to achieve net zero by 2050 in alignment with a 1.5 degrees C scenario with no or limited overshoot, exclusion of companies exposed to controversial weapons, tobacco or violating societal norms, maintained exposure to high climate impact business activities, an overweight of companies with robust science-based targets. So, how do the indices differ? PAB indices exclude based on fossil fuel exposure and reduce the weighted average carbon intensity by 50% relative to the parent index, while CTB indices require a 30% relative weighted average carbon intensity reduction. We designed the S&P PACT indices to meet EU low-carbon benchmark minimum standards, but we didn't stop there. Our methodologies use cutting-edge data to go beyond the minimum standards using forward-looking scenario analysis, including physical risk research as recommended by the TCFD. Transition pathway data from the climate experts at S&P Global TrueCost is combined with physical risk and Scope 3 data analysis to allow for a more accurate reflection of companies' transition and physical risks in an evidence-based and forward-looking manner while assessing their ability to access potential opportunities. Fossil fuel reserves are also controlled or reduced to lower stranded asset risk. Specialists from S&P Global use advanced ESG analytics to identify companies with strong environmental policies who may be better positioned to transition to a 1.5 degrees C scenario. We optimize constituent weights to minimize deviations from the underlying index while addressing climate risks and opportunities holistically and maintaining liquidity and diversification. So what's the end result of this comprehensive approach? A broad, diversified set of climate indices compatible with a 1.5 degrees C scenario and TCFD recommendations that incorporate additional requirements beyond those set by the EU under the Low Carbon Benchmark Regulation, helping market participants looking to chart a path to net zero by 2050. To learn more about our full range of S&P Paris Aligned and Climate Transition indices, including index data, methodologies and research designed to help market participants unlock the full potential of passive strategies tracking the indices, visit www.spglobal.com/SPDJI.